Hello and welcome everyone. In this video, I'll try to give you a quick study plan exclusively for law for the last 8 weeks. I have decided to give study plan for law because you already have like experience with accounts and maths because you would have already studied that in plus 2, even economics, and BCR is basically English and BCK is like again not so technical chapter. But law is theoretical and you haven't studied it in plus 2 and it is quite technical, and also it accounts for 60 marks. So I think as a student you need a separate game plan for law, especially for the last 8 weeks. Now I'm a chartered accountant, but I have made this video with the perspective that if I were to write CA foundation, what will I do? How will I approach the last 8 weeks? So that's exactly how I'm going to make this video. Okay, so this video basically has two parts. One is I will cover some preliminary grounds, some general instructions I'll share so that we both will be on the same page. And in the second part of the video, I will discuss the actual study plan. So let us get into the first part. Let us set up some preliminary rules so we have the same understanding going for the plan. Okay, so first point I would like to talk is ICAI material, please. So you may have a lot of reference books, you may have some favorite author, and you may also be having some study material given by your own coaching center. That is all fine, and usually the private authors books and this materials given by coaching centers, they have kind of a simplified language of law, and most of you might find it comfortable to read the law from the coaching center's material. However, when you open the institute study material, you might find the language to be completely different, and you might find the ICAI material a little intimidating. I accept that, I can understand that. But I strictly recommend, I sincerely recommend ICAI material only because the questions that you are going to get in the exam, it has a language. The answer that you are going to give to those questions should follow a language because law itself has its own language. That's what I believe always. And you need to understand, you need to grab the tone of that language. So you need to follow a material that is consistent across format. Okay, so that's the first point, stick to CA material. The second point is plain reading is sufficient, annotating and highlighting is fine, but no separate note taking. So what do I mean by that? After you have fixed on the ICA material, start reading one chapter after the other. I would say just have a plain reading. I won't even suggest that you should do an intensive reading of like dissecting each and every sentence, all those things. I don't say it is necessary for the last 8 weeks. That you should be doing that for the last 8 weeks. So I am saying do an extensive reading, meaning do read like a magazine, but just go through it from end to end. Don't get into the nuances, all those things. So that is one thing. The second thing is, suppose you are reading and you are in the flow and you find you got some really good insight, you found some important phrase that you really worth highlighting, then you can definitely take a highlighter, grab a marker and highlight in the material itself, and you can probably use your pen or pencil and pull out an arrow and write some reminders about the particular phrase on the margins. You can definitely annotate it and you can definitely highlight it. Do it within the study material itself. But the problem is some students sometimes they get over enthusiastic and they'll just they'll say I make my own notes. Okay, they'll start doing a fair copy of whatever was given in the study material. They'll exactly do a Xerox copy of the same content in a separate notebook. I will say at this point, at the last 8 weeks mark, don't do that. That is only wasting your time. I am saying it's going to give you very, very little value, if not no value. So that's the point. No separate note taking. Whatever you are reading, highlight whatever you want to do, just do it in the main study material itself. Okay, next, third point is focus is implied. Yes, which is again a very obvious point. Whatever the plan that I'm going to suggest up next, that absolutely implies that every time you sit to study, whether it is a 15-minute session or it is a 90-minute study session, you are sitting with full focus. There is no second thoughts on that. So my plan that I'm going to give you now will work only if you study with full focus. If you are having a law book on one hand and on the other hand, if you are having smartphone and you are getting 25 notifications in every 5 minutes and you are attention, and your attention is switching back and forth, and after a passage of 90 minutes of time, the actual real effort that you have made only accounts for 7 to 8 minutes, absolutely won't help you at all. So just understand that focus is implied. Whatever I'm going to suggest, every time you sit down to study, keep the phone 25 meters away, and be stimulus free, and just fully dive into the paper, and then you can start to see the results, and then you can see this plan working for you. So that's the third point. And the fourth point is, no, don't try to buy hard, don't try to cram. So the point is, law, you can never memorize it. It is not something like a recital competition or anything. You don't try to memorize it, you don't try to by heart it. The ability to write the law answer in a very professional language will come after a while. That's my objective by giving you this plan. By the end of the plan, you will definitely reach that level of reproducing the language in a very professional way. The point is, don't try to by heart it. You are going to have a very frustrating time if you go with the cramming route. And the last point is, fifth point is, don't get into research mode, curb the curiosity. So the point is, some over-enthused students, what they will do, they'll see a provision and they'll immediately think that, okay, I will enhance my answering quality. Let me get into Google and just give the relevant provision and try to see if I can pull out some foreign case laws, all those things. They'll see why even this provision came, why is this party getting the damages, why is this party should pay the damages. Like this, we will get into this endless research mode. It will look very good. You might look very intelligent if you do all those things. You will again feel good in the short term. It might have all been a good thing if you had done this like 3-4 months back, because you had still 6 months to go, but now you have only 8 weeks to go. Now is not the time you get into research mode. So I hope you saw the preliminaries here. I hope now we have a same understanding. With the basement set, I can actually take you to the plan. So let's get into the plan. So this is the plan, guys. So see the basic thing. Now I have plotted the entire study material table of content here. And in the second column, you can see the number of pages for each chapter. And as you can see, the header of the column, number of pages in ICA material, in brackets, core content. That means this is just the core chapter, and this does not include the question and answer segment that follows every chapter. So you can see Indian Contracts Act 89 pages, Sale of Goods Act 47 pages, Partnership 47, LLP 20, Companies Act 31. Put together you have 231 pages. Okay. Now you can see what is this round 1, round 2, round 3, round 4, round 5. We are going to do 5 rounds of preparation or 5 rounds of revision, whatever you may call, in the next 8 weeks. Okay, so that's the plan. So don't get overwhelmed as of now. I will make it easy for you. So just understand the fact that we are going to do 5 rounds of preparation, but how we are going to do, at what frequency, we'll see all that in a while. Now this is 5 rounds. Let me sell you on the point. First of all, why do you need 5 rounds of revision? See, what would have happened, most of you who are watching this video, you might have already finished classes, or your classes might still be ongoing, but in the class they might have completed one topic or one chapter. You would have diligently come home and started preparing it on ICI material. And what would have happened, you would have done 1 round of studies. So after the completion of that first round of preparation, you would have felt that, okay, now I attended that in the class and I did it 1 round of self-preparation also. We tend to think that with that 1 round of self-preparation, we will become exam ready for that topic. And the next mistake the students do is, they may be very well aware that 1 round of preparation won't be enough. But when they were about to do the right thing of opening it for the second time, they will have a tinge of hesitation. That 1 microsecond of hesitation, that it will result in a fear that if I sit down for second round of preparation, I am doing a duplication work, I am doing a redundant work. What if in this time, next to 20 or 30 minutes that it is going to take me to do the second round of revision, what if I use that time to study a new topic that I haven't already studied? In this rate, if I keep revising one chapter of the other, when will I be able to study the uncovered topics? That's the key thing that demoralizes a lot of students. So what they do, they just drop the idea of revision and open a new topic and do a first round of preparation on a new topic. And again, they will get that short-term satisfaction that they have covered another new topic. But the point is, until they try to recall, they would have completely forgotten whatever they had studied, the first topic, which might have been like 3-4 days back. So that's the reality. So that's the reason why you feel that you have already studied so much, and then after a point of 3-4 days, that you have completely forgotten, and you are not able to reproduce like even 10% of what you studied on 3-4 days back. Now the most important point, if at all you didn't get anything from this video, just pay attention to this one line. There is no problem with your brain. Okay, so stop beating yourself, stop being so hard on yourself and say that there is something problem with respect to my memory alone. All others are appearing very perfect. They just appear to just study it for one time and they are able to perfectly recollect it every time when the test happens. Nothing like that, nothing like that. Everybody is in the same miserable position like you are. Okay, so just understand that there is nothing wrong with respect to your brain. Now, having understood this fact, what do we do now? How do we arrest this problem? It is the very nature of the brain to get rid of the things that was basically sent into it for one time. Just answer me this simple question. What was your last meal? If I ask you this question, you will know the answer. What you ate today morning or the very last meal that you ate. You will be able to recollect. But what if I ask you, what did you eat for dinner 5 days back? We won't know the answer because it is an irrelevant detail, because brain is very good in getting rid of all the trivial details. Unfortunately, when you read stuff like law, which is a very vague subject already, the brain still thinks that this is a trivial thing. So with all the unfavorable things combined, when you read the topic for one time, the brain is going to happily get rid of it after a day's time. So this is the point at which I'm going to introduce this concept called forgetting curve. So let us see what is this forgetting curve. This is forgetting curve. So whatever you read at one point, when you are done reading at that first round, your brain will kind of have a 100% retention rate of that particular topic. But what happens as the time keeps passing on, the information will start to slowly leak out of your brain, and by the time like you reach like 3 days from the point one, you are going to have completely forgotten whatever you have studied 3 days back. So this is the reason why you have studied something. You have studied breach of a contract, you have studied like sale of goods act full provision, and then 3 days later you feel like you have completely forgotten. You feel like, did I even study this or not? So that's the reason. So this is the brain's general tendency. Let's accept that. Now you might have understood why I recommended 5 rounds of preparation. So what I am suggesting is, do a plain reading of the chapter end to end, from one end to the other end, cover to cover. Do a plain reading of chapter like how you normally read an English book. You are going to forget it in a matter of 3 days. So use as little time as possible for the actual preparation. Then what happens? Exactly after your first round, after 24 hours, just close your eyes and try to recall whatever you have studied the previous day. In your previous study session, whatever you have studied, just try to do a blind recall. Again, don't take much time for this. Take like 7 to 10 minutes for this. So assume the previous day you studied like 15 points. Try and see how many you were able to recollect on the second revision. So my guess is you might be able to say recollect only 40 to 60% of whatever you have studied. If you are able to recollect like 80-90% of it, great. But the average turns out to be like only we will be able to recollect only like 40 to 60% of what we studied the previous day, because within 24 hours we tend to forget like 70-80% of whatever we had studied. So that's the reality. And after that, let some 3-4 days pass. Be absolutely okay with it. You don't have to open it anymore within the 3-4 days. Okay, 3 days after your round 2, reopen the topic again, do a plain reading, and before you do plain reading, just try to do a blind recall. But again, this is still not, we are not done yet. We are still in WIP only. Now, after round 3, give another week gap, like let 7 days pass, and then reopen the same topic for round 4. And after round 4, give 14 days gap and reopen the topic for round 5. This is basically what is spaced repetition system. So if you just follow this to the point with adequate gaps in between and not trying to buy hard the provisions, I'm very sure that by round 5, you will be able to completely have a grip over that particular topic. Now, again, the big question is, will I have time for all these? That's the big question. I know that I can understand. That's the question that's been lingering in your mind all along. How am I going to find time for all these things? Yes, we will figure out a way. Let us get into that, how to arrange the timetable for this study plan. Now, again, we have come back to this page, same page. Now, I would like you to see how many number of pages, total number of pages are there in this law paper. It is 231 pages. Now I would like to tell you, you have to get into that hyper focus mode, and like how you go in the exam. In exam, you will definitely not have any second thoughts, right? Like 2 o'clock, if you start writing, and it's like a one-way street, right? The same attitude I would like you to have right from today when you start preparing for law. You have to think that you are in an exam center, time is running, and you have to act a bit faster than usual. So let me tell you, 231 pages are there. For each page, to read each page, you cannot take more than 5 minutes. So 5 minutes is a lot of time. If you study with full focus, you will definitely be able to study from end to end, one page in 5 minutes. If it takes you 5 minutes for a page, going by that logic, in order for you to complete one round of plain reading of study material, it should take you roughly 19.2. It should take you 19.25 hours. Let's round it up to like 20. Let's keep it 20. So it is going to only take 20 hours for you to complete this entire study material from end to end, the core content of every chapter. Once you are done with reading the core content, at the end of each chapter, again, you may know there are some test your knowledge questions, both MCQ format as well as descriptive format, and each chapter is followed by the suggested answers given by the institute itself. So again, you can read the question and read the answer and understand how the institute is drafting the answers. Okay, so I would like you to again read that also after the end of each unit. So for reading the plain chapter, it's gonna take 20 hours, and for reading the question and answers at the back of this, I would say it is going to take like roughly 15 hours. So if you look closely, with a matter of 35 hours, you will be able to do one full round of reading cover to cover without any leftovers in between. So completely, it's gonna take 35 hours. Now we are not gonna do this way, like we read from one end to the end, and then we'll go for second round and third round, fourth round. We are going to do like a parallel revision and parallel fresh studies. What do I mean by that? Let's say you have decided to start with nature of contracts. You studied this today, 26 pages are there. You studied it today. So in this Excel, I will be attaching this Excel in the description below, the Google Sheet for this Excel. You can probably download it. And anyway, so this yellow is the value that you feed in there. Just fill the date on which you study the portion. So this will tell you, if you feed it the day on which you finish round 1, this formula will automatically give you tentatively on round 2 when you should study, round 3 when you should study, round 4 when you should study, round 5 when you should study. Once you keep on going to new topics, and you keep filling the dates here after on round 1 column, the round 2, round 3, round 4, round 5, it will automatically populate. And if you allot like 2 hours per day on law, I'm very sure that you are going to finish this entire round 1 in a matter of, say, easily 14 to 15 days. Even if you do it as late as 27th November 2023, you will still have time to do the 5th revision by as early as 22nd December, and you will still have like 8-9 days. I'm not saying round 2 revision date. This is round 5's revision date. You can still finish it by 22nd of December. Now let us see how the overall time computation is gonna be. So for first round, it is going to be total of 34 hours. Let's keep roughly 35 hours. For round 2, round 3, round 4, round 5, what I'm giving as an estimate is that With each round that you move on from one after the other, I'm assuming that you will have a 20% savings in time, meaning some topic that it took you like 60 minutes for round one. When you go to round two, it's going to take you only 48 minutes. Like 80 percentage of time only it's going to take for you to do the in the second round. So with that 20% savings in time, we will progress round after round. So for each round two, round three, round four, it is going to take you like 27, 22, 18 and 14 hours only. This includes chapter reading as well as questions and answers reading. So if you see the total number of hours that it is going to take for you to do this complete 5 rounds of preparation, it comes around 115 hours. And how many days are there until exam? I think roughly 58 days until exam. So it just takes a matter of 2 hours per day. If you keep studying every day 2 hours for next to 58 days, you will definitely be able to crack this 5 rounds of revision. If you are able to pull off this 5 rounds of revision on 31st December or on 28th December, whenever you are going to do the final revision, I am very sure that you will definitely not have this frustration. You will definitely not have this panic and all that. So just trust the process. Just do extensive reading, re-expose yourself, re-expose yourself. You will definitely be able to retain a lot of fact, and definitely there is nothing wrong with your brain and all that. I have to touch upon RTP, MTP as well. So any cost, just make sure within this part of preparation, read RTP also. I think it will take 3 hours for you to read RTP one time. And if you really want to write a model test, I think most of you might have already written tests conducted by your coaching centers. Or if you are really studying on your own, I think you would have definitely you would have plans of writing model test. Again, I'm saying it is very, very nice to write model test. If possible, write a couple of tests, I will say. See, the preparation part is already covered in this 5 rounds. For writing only, you have to allot extra time. So let's say you write one round of MTP for 3 hours and another round of MTP for another 3 hours. So let's keep only like it's gonna take extra 10 to 12 hours approximately. Even then, let's change 125 hours. It's showing 2.15. So that's just roughly 2 hours and 10 to 12 minutes. So let's keep like 2 hours 15 minutes per day for law. If you allot it, if you have it that as a like permanent allocation for law, you will be able to do this entire preparation. And I hope you will not have any scope for last moment anxiety. I hope this video was clear, and I just went about on a rant, and I hope you were able to follow the thought process. And if you still find some loophole in this plan, if you are still unconvinced on certain things, definitely let me know in the comment section below, and I'll be super happy to help. I'll see you in the next video. Take care, all the best, and bye bye.